Here at Lakota Ranch, looking at an 18-month-old grass-finished steer. I get asked the question all the time, how do I know if my steer is finished? Well, carcass evaluation provides breeders with a comparative assessment of their livestock's carcass merit, their genetic strength, their edible meat value, and the ability to determine when an animal is finished. Animals sent to market prior to being finished will not have the right intermuscular fat and will not have a flavorful product. Finishing animals on grass is certainly a harder challenge than finishing animals on grain. But the fat in the animal is deposited the same no matter what their diet, so the things we're looking for are the same. Try to get this fellow to walk away from me, because when I'm assessing a carcass, what I like to do is I like to get behind the animal. I like to get a good look at his rear end. If I stand behind him, his butt should be broad and thick, with that same thickness carrying through to his front shoulder, and it'll be apparent at the top of the shoulder blades. The shoulder blades should be set wide apart. The butt or the hindquarters should be wide as well, with the thurl joints and the pins set high and wide. The thurl joints and the pins are this, what I call the tabletop on this guy. If I'm to stand behind him again, I could set a plate of food and a drink up on his back and not worry about it falling over, because those hooks are set high and therefore give him a wide, broad back. That same thickness again carries through to this front shoulder. That's what I'm looking for in his rear end. If he's a heavy muscled animal like this guy is, there will almost be a roundness to his rump. I'm going to come back this way because I'm getting the sun on the wrong side. He doesn't want to hold still, of course. But that roundness will be apparent only in the well-muscled animals. The next thing I'm looking for is the fat deposits. First place that they'll show up is around the tail. You can see two bulges on either side of the tail, and the tail is set into the rump. This is a good sign that the animal's getting close to finish, and the first place I look. I can actually see some fat deposit in the animal's tail as well. An animal that's over fat will almost have a softball beside the tail. That's not what I want. I just want a bulge that you can see even from the side being prominent and encompassing the tail. A much better look at his rump here. You can see the thickness he carries from front to back. Once I see that thickness in the rear end, now I'll begin to move forward. I can see tremendous depth or volume in his middle section. Obviously, this is something I want. He is a frame score 3 steer. Smaller framed animals tend to work better because the rumen size is fixed in a beef animal, and the smaller animals can use more of the energy that they consume for growth because their maintenance requirements are much less. As I move to the front, I want to kind of stay on this side so the sun doesn't get behind me, so maybe we can get him to spin and kind of face it. And what I want to look at next is his brisket. The brisket is this area under his chin. Once I can start to see fat being deposited here, I know that the animal is close to finish, if not finished. Obviously, again, this is a finished animal, so there's a heavy amount of fat deposited there in the brisket. If I look down here at his shin bones, the shin bones, I'm still seeing bone, I'm not seeing fat. When I move up above the knee, I'm starting to see some fat, but down here just bone. On an over-fat animal, you'll begin to see fat almost rolling over the knees and bulging at the shin. Remember that muscle is firm and fat is soft. So you can use your hands on these animals if you get them in a pen and determine what's fat and what's muscle. If you do get them in a pen, I would also advise you to hold them without food for 24 hours and then reach right up under this pin. There is a triangle that'll develop right there, and if they're kept without food overnight, you'll get a good idea of the eye muscle area. A very narrow and hollow, deep type hole is indicative of a small loin or eye muscle area, but a broader hole that's not as deep is indicative of a wide eye muscle area. The eye muscle is the most valuable piece of meat, and again, fat is deposited uniformly just like muscle is. I would encourage you, when grass finishing an animal, to always keep in mind that top cattle and grass finished cattle are bred, they're not fed. If you have the right type of animal, finishing becomes quite easy. It becomes much more a matter of the right types of grasses and cattle management than anything else. So start with the right genetics, concentrate on your grasses, and help develop your eye by surrounding yourself with good cattlemen who have evaluated carcasses. Keep an open mind and learn as you go. Again, 18-month-old grass-fed Devon steer, brought to you by Lakota Ranch. Hopefully this will give you an idea, again, of how to assess your animals for finish. Good quiet animals are also a very positive thing in any management-intensive grazing situation. One last look. Thank you very much. Feel free to check us out on the web at lakotareddevons.com or call Jeremy Engh for more information. Thank you.